The government of Sri Lanka is hopeful of emerging from the crisis it has been stuck in for months. President Ranil Wickremesinghe exuded confidence in his plans to restore pre-crisis level of Forex reserves and bring the country back to the economic normal in a few years from now. President defended his government's calls in the backdrop of widespread protests held in Colombo to demand tax cuts, including the income tax. Sri Lankan government is also in talks with its primary lenders, China, India and Japan, in order to ensure the International Monetary Fund program.
Streets of Colombo have been rocked by massive demonstrations as people cutting across the social hierarchy have taken to streets demanding rollback or at least reduction in range of taxes that have been imposed by the government in line with a host of measures adopted to bring the country back to economic normal. Workers from at least 40 trade unions expressed their anger and said they were bearing the brunt of the negative dividends of government's incompetence. Sri Lanka has been seeking a $2.9 billion USD loan from IMF, the global lender, in order to stabilize its economy. It has been in talks with its primary lenders China, India and Japan in order to get its debt restructuring done. It is also required to boost the country's revenue by 11.3% of GDP this year, 3% more from what it targeted to achieve in the previous fiscal year. In a bid to achieve the same, the government had come up with a financial plan earlier which comprised imposition of taxes on nearly all sections of professionals in the country, with tax slab ranging from 12.5% to 36%.
අද මේ මොහොත වන විට තෙල් සංස්ථාව වරාය විදුලිය ටෙලිකොම් ජල සම්පාදන ඇතුළු මේ රටේ අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා සියල්ලම අද මේ කොටුවට ආවේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහගේ මේ අසාධාරණ බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තියට වැඩ කරන ජනතාවගේ විරෝධය පළ කරන්නට.
The government said it was hopeful of achieving economic growth in years to come, with Colombo emerging entirely out of crisis by 2026. As per government's data, Sri Lanka's reserves reached 2.1 billion USD at the end of January, which is the highest it has been in about a year. Economic experts say the country's current situation is the result of successive, imprudent and popular policies. They also say the COVID pandemic further exacerbated the crisis 2020 onwards. Previous President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had to flee the country after months-long popular uprising literally reached the presidential palace last year. Ranil Wickremesinghe was then installed as the president, whose government, he says, is confident of making gains with a new set of financial policies.
බින්දුවට වගේ වැටී තිබුණ විදේශ සංචිත ඇමරිකානු ඩොලර් මිලියන 500ක් දක්වා ඉහළ නගවා ගැනීමට අපට දැන් පුළුවන් වෙලා තියෙනවා. සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරයේ යලි පණ ගන්නවන්ට අපට පුළුවන් වුණා. පාරවල් පුරා සිටි දේශපාලනික උද්ඝෝෂණය කරමින් සිදු කෙරෙනු බාධා මාධ්‍ය වුණත් සංචාරකයන් ලංකාවට ආවා. ලෝකයේ හොඳම සංචාරක ගමනාන්ත 10ක් අතරට ලංකාව නම් කෙරුණා. මේ ජනවාරි මාසයේ ලංකාවට සංචාරකයන් පැමිණි සංඛ්‍යාව ලක්ෂයකට අධිකයි. එය වාර්තාගත ප්‍රමාණයක්. මේ ආකාරයෙන් සියලු ක්ෂේත්‍රයන්ම අපි ප්‍රගතියක් ලබමින් සිටිනවා.
While the government hopes that its measures can restore financial stability in the country, there are a number of commentators who opine the opposite. Some say the change in regime has only worsened the situation, with people now forced to pay more than ever for the least they are receiving. The government has time and again appealed to people to cooperate with the government's policies, which doesn't seem to be happening, at least as of now, with some saying that they will hold countrywide protests if the government doesn't change its economic stance immediately.